You know, it was about a year ago now that Portlanders voted to overhaul the city's form of government. First time in more than 100 years. Big deal. For voters, it was a fairly easy process. Choose yes or no. For city officials, though, it's been a massive undertaking. And a year later, they still have a long ways to go and a lot of cost to budget. But there is some movement now, and that's our big story tonight. For Portland, it's going to be historic, probably fascinating whether you live here or not. Seeing this whole change is just going to be incredible. Now, about a year from now, if you do live in the city, you're going to vote for 3 candidates who you want to represent your district in Portland. Yeah, your district. The city's been divided into 4 districts total. So you are also going to pick a new mayor. Portland's current mayor, Ted Wheeler, is not running again. The entire group will take office on January 1st of 2025. Also, the date of the new form of government officially launching. But a lot of behind-the-scenes bits are still being cemented well ahead of then. Yesterday, the current city council approved one of the biggest pieces, how the government departments are actually going to be arranged. It took them nearly 5 hours and a whole lot of arguing. Let's take a look at what's already been decided now. The city will be split into 4 new districts. We've covered that. If you need to know which one you're in, go to portlandmaps.com. Salaries have been decided for the new city councilors. There will be 12 of them now, and they'll each make about $133,000 a year. No one can officially file to run for office until June, but candidates have started lining up and making their announcements and raising money. Once those candidates take office in 2025, they'll spend their time on setting policies for the city and representing the voters in their district. They will not be in charge of running the city's bureaus as the current commissioners do now. A new city administrator instead will do that job with deputy administrators below that person. Let's take a look at how that's going to work. There will be 6 city departments instead of bureaus. Budget and finance will handle money, city operations, things like human resources, 311 and city facilities. Community and economic development will be in charge of housing, permitting, and Prosper Portland. Public safety will handle police, fire, emergency management, and there will also be an office called Vibrant Communities. They'll handle the arts, natural areas, parks, and the children's levy. And Public Works will take care of water, transportation, and environmental services. Each of these, they're calling them public service areas, will have a deputy city administrator in charge of them, and then that person will report to the city administrator, who will be appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. But wait, there's more. Under the city administrator will be an assistant city administrator. That person will oversee the city's communications, community and civic life, council operations, and a new office called Portland Solutions that will handle homeless services. They will also be in charge of an equity officer and the Office of Equity and Human Rights and a sustainability officer. The mayor will also be in charge of the police chief, the city attorney, and their own chief of staff. The mayor will have a staff of 5 to help out with whatever they need, and each city councilor will have a staff of 2. Now, if you're thinking, whoa, that seems like a lot. Won't that be expensive? The answer is, yeah. It will be. In fact, the estimate for that transition to the new form of government it's really a skyrocket. Millions more than voters were told last fall. New estimates show it's going to cost more than $23 million a year to run the new government. That's not the transition cost, that's the running the new government for that whole new year. Right now, the current government costs just over $10 million a year to run.
I do have serious concerns about the cost of this new form of government. The voters approved a ceiling of $8.7 million to implement this new form of government. Today's proposal moves that ceiling to $13 million, resulting in a total investment of $23.9 million. This amendment makes it clear that there is still work to be done as we enter the budgeting season, and edits will need to be made.
Okay, Dan Ryan's amendment was mostly a symbolic gesture. He said he wanted to get on the record, though, that he's concerned about the cost estimates and wants to keep fiscal discipline at the forefront as council goes into the budget season. Several people who showed up to give public testimony said, yeah, like Walter, who told commissioners the whole thing's way too complex.
An additional $13 million, plus renovation of City Hall, plus voting system implementation, will be a complete surprise to voters who approved the ballot measure.
He's not wrong. Commissioner Rene Gonzalez agreed, and councilors brought the city's budget office into the discussion to try and explain the whole thing.
Voters were told something.
Well, the voters were given a document that had, if you go back and review, it had numerous points where it said, these are estimates. And they talked about all the risk of the estimates because it was done very quickly. And now we're in a situation where we have things like inflation and things that are happening that are just frankly going to increase the cost of what we told to the voters.
Tim, I understand that to a point, right? But the low end of the estimate was 900,000, and we're talking 23 million, right? And 13 million of which is new. This isn't a small.
Well, we don't
off
start
of
with the
estimates.
900,000. We gave them a range. Well, I wasn't here at the time.
No, the ceiling,
We
the
gave them
ceiling
a
was,
fairly large range on the costs.
the ceiling was 18.7.
So I understand what you're saying.
8.7.
We will need to explain. We will need to explain the types of expenditure increases that occurred based upon that original estimate.
Yes, I'd say that's right. If you want that explanation, well, you're going to have to hold on and wait until the city goes through its next budgeting process. And they say the city councilors will have the option then to create different scenarios and decide which ones to actually fund. Now, keep in mind, the city's total budget is about $7 billion. In the end, the city council did approve the new organizational structure with a 4-to-1 vote. The lone dissenter, Mayor Ted Wheeler, who was upset about all the last-minute amendments. As always, we want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Send us an email, will you? Let us hear from you. The address is thestory@kgw.com. You can also give us a call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5090. I really do look forward to hearing from you.